Italy, the first country in the world to impose a national lockdown to try to control the pandemic, has now lifted some of its toughest restrictions. On the day it registered its lowest daily death toll since the lockdown began 2 months ago. But the extent of the social and economic impact of the shutdown is unclear. Our correspondent Mark Lowen has the latest.
A nation that has shed so many tears alone can finally grieve together. In Naples today, the first funerals allowed with a maximum of 15 people as Italy opens up. Being unable to say goodbye or visit graves has been one of the cruelest losses of the lockdown. This is a beautiful day as I can visit my son who died 10 years ago, says Concetta. Thank you to everyone who's made it possible. I can't say anything more. I'm too emotional. As the world's longest shutdown of the pandemic starts to fade, outdoor exercise is now allowed, parks and some businesses are reopening, and relatives can see each other again, with distance and masks.
So finally, people can come and visit the family members that they've been stopped from seeing for 8 long weeks. But it does present a danger because this train has come in from Milan, in the region of Italy worst hit by the virus. So with freedom comes the hugely increased risk of spreading the outbreak.
Keep your distance, they're warned, before everyone fills in a form to explain why they're here. Europe's worst-hit country is taking no chances. Livia De Santis last saw her daughter, who lives in Milan, in January. It's felt like an eternity.
Has it been difficult for you not being able to?
Yes, for me, yes, a little bit, yes.
You've missed her?
Yes.
Resisting a motherly urge is tough. Normality so near, yet so far.
How does it feel to see your mum?
It's heartwarming, really, because I haven't seen her for nearly 5 months, so it's very moving.
It's been difficult to not to see her.
Yeah, quite a lot, yeah. Sorry.
But the lockdown has left deep scars. We were taken by police to one of the roughest areas of one of the EU's poorest regions. The worry here is of organised crime preying on poverty. Carpenter Raffaele says with work stopped, he may have to sell his TV to get by. There's been lots more crime since the lockdown, he says, even kids stealing drugs and stealing cars since they need to eat. Fighting the mafia's resurgence is this priest under protection, making up boxes of supplies for the needy to stop criminal groups from stepping in instead.
The mafia has always exploited Italy's moments of weakness, and this is one of those moments. They give people help, but then ask for drug dealing or money in exchange. We have to give citizens the antibodies to defend themselves, to stop the mafia from reclaiming this territory.
A health crisis has become a social one. And this is what other countries too may face as they reopen from a lockdown that is stopping the dying but killing the economy. Mark Lowen, BBC News, Naples.
Earlier this year, President Trump praised China's handling of the pandemic, congratulating President Xi on a number of occasions. But that's all changed. In recent weeks, Mr. Trump has accused the Chinese government of failing to deal with the spread of the virus and of organising a cover-up. The result is open hostility between the two countries. Let's join our North America editor, John Sopel.
Hugh, China may be on the other side of the coronavirus crisis, but America is still deep in the mire. And a leaked government report suggests that the death toll, far from plateauing, could go a lot higher. But with each rise in the numbers of people who've died, Donald Trump is keener to shift the blame from him to China.
What happened in Wuhan didn't stay in Wuhan. A coronavirus which has affected billions, infected millions and killed hundreds of thousands is claiming a new casualty: US-China relations. On the American side, there's growing fury about China's secretiveness and, for the moment, an unsubstantiated charge that this didn't originate in a wet market in the city, but in a government laboratory.
These are not the first times that we've had a world exposed to viruses as a result of failures in a Chinese lab. And so while the Intelligence Committee continues to do its work, they should continue to do that and verify so that we are certain. I can tell you that there is a significant amount of evidence that this came from that laboratory in Wuhan.
The words from America's top diplomat seem designed to cause maximum offence to the Chinese. The president last night said they'd bring forward evidence at the right time.
And my opinion is they made a mistake. They tried to cover it. They tried to put it out. It's like a fire. You know, it's really like trying to put out a fire.
Against the backdrop of the Lincoln Memorial, Donald Trump again raised the potential death toll in the US to as many as 100,000. But each time he does that, so it brings fresh scrutiny of his own erratic handling of the crisis. With an election 6 months away, having someone else to blame, the Chinese, the World Health Organization, has become politically essential.
But this is about much more than electoral politics. There is growing unease in the White House that China has become way too powerful on multilateral bodies like the World Health Organization and World Bank, and that America needs to reassert itself. The coronavirus pandemic is becoming a defining, and some would say deeply unsettling moment in the relationship between the world's two economic superpowers.
Last week, stock markets fell sharply on the threat by Donald Trump to take unspecified retaliatory action against the Chinese. But China is giving as good as it gets.
We discovered a new virus.
This cartoon lampooning the Americans was posted by the Xinhua news agency in English.
The virus is killing doctors.
Typical third world.
It's airborne.
It'll magically go away in April.
The deterioration in relations has been rapid. This was Donald Trump in the early stages of the outbreak.
President Xi loves the people of China, he loves his country, and he's doing a very good job with a very, very tough situation.
The president used to talk extravagantly about his great friend President Xi, about their wonderful relationship. You don't hear much about that now. John Sopel, BBC News, Washington.